When I was in hospital, the lottery for Hard Rock came up, and I don't know why. I think I was just trying to feel normal. I was very afraid. I didn't know what my future was going to be like because I couldn't walk at the time. And the lottery for Hard Rock came up, and I put my name in the lottery. And I think in my mind, I was just like, I just wanted to feel normal. And also a little bit was, who knows? Like, I don't know what my recovery is going to be like, so why put limits on myself? And luckily, I was able, after 1 month, I was able to start walking a bit. After 2 months, I was able to go walking in the mountains. After 3 months, I was able to ski tour. And then in about May, before Hard Rock, I started running. So only 4 months before Hard Rock, I started running for the race. And I knew I wasn't going to be, very competitive. And it was a different challenge for me. It was just to see what I was capable of doing and see if I could finish it. But yeah, Hard Rock was a very difficult, it's a very difficult race. And it was very, very emotional for me. And it was very difficult in many different ways. In ways I hadn't thought about, because when the race started, I ran with the leaders for a little bit, and the leaders started running away from me. And it was like my former body running away from me, because in the past I'd be with the leaders, and now I was here. And so I had to watch that happen, and I found that very difficult to deal with. And then also I found I had so many excuses and reasons to stop, because nobody was going to say, oh, you only ran 100 kilometers. They're like, no, it's amazing. You ran 100 kilometers. You only broke your back 10 months ago. And so I had a lot of fights inside me, explaining, why am I doing this? Why am I out here moving? Like, why do I need to be doing this for myself? And is just my ego? Am I only doing it for you? Am I only doing it to show people that I can do it? Like, why are you doing these things? But Nick and Dakota, who were with me when I had my accident, were pacing me. And so having the two people who saved my life, who thought that they were coming to pick up a body, to share that experience with them in the mountains was very, very special. And Nick and Dakota have never moved so slowly in the mountains as they did with me, but that's okay. It was a different experience, and maybe the most important experience I've ever had in a race. The results didn't matter. It was all about, and to be honest, like, I didn't enjoy a lot of it. A lot of it was very difficult. And because my body wasn't working properly, I was in a lot of pain. My foot was hurting, my back was hurting, and it was very difficult for me. Whereas before, racing was a little bit, it's not easy, but like, it was smooth, there was rhythm. There was no rhythm here. And so it was a very new experience for me, and I really had internal fights as to why to keep going. But when I finally came to the finish line, it was just really, really special to share that with everybody who finished the race. And even at the start of the race, when I was struggling, Anna Frost, who I think a lot of Spanish runners know as well, stopped, and as she was passing me, because I was crying at just what I was missing. And she gave me a big hug. And she's like, Adam, it's okay. Like, you have nothing to prove to anybody here. And she gave me permission to just enjoy the day in a different way. And that was very special. And once again, I relied on somebody else, so it was very profound for me. It was to see if I could do it. So rather than competing against other people, I was challenging myself. And I think that's a very special way of doing things. And because I was out with Nick and Dakota, to show them, to say thank you and to spend more time with them as well in the mountains. And I wasn't so broken that I couldn't, there's no real reason to stop. So why not try? Actually, so when I ran Hard Rock, I had 2 metal rods in my back, holding my back together. And then in November, they took the metal out of my back. And when they took the metal out, I actually started to feel much better. And so I started doing ski mountaineering competitions again. And then in May, I did a race in China called the Lijiang Skyview Marathon. And it's a 65K race, but you go up to almost 5,000 meters. There's almost 5,000 meters of elevation gain, so very difficult race. And I finished third at that race, and so I was like, oh, I'm actually like in good condition. But my interest is more in just being in the mountains and more in climbing and skiing, and running is interesting to me. I love it, but I'll never be as fast as I used to be in running. Whereas I'm improving in skiing and climbing, and so I'm enjoying the sports I'm improving at, but I run every day. I still run every day. Even if it's 20 minutes, I go for a run every day. If it makes sense, I do a competition because there's no better training than competition. And it makes you go hard. And so I like that, and I like seeing friends, and it's a good way to see people. But the results, if I have a good result, I have a good result. If I don't, and I've gone hard, then I'm happy. I think the training for them, the preparation is healthy. The competitions are hard on your body, very difficult, but I think anything that requires you to set a goal and prepare for it is healthy. It's better than sitting on the couch doing nothing or like just drinking beers all day. And so I think it is healthy. Yeah. Obviously, 100 miles is very far and it's difficult to do, but if you approach it in the right way, it's healthy. Yeah. My running goals are just to enjoy running every day, and there's some things I want to do around my home that are more like running, mountaineering, FKT things. It'd be nice to come and maybe do UTMB or one of those races. But what I'm more interested in is personal challenges, more like technical, like trad climbing. Yeah, so where I live, there's a lot of really fun, like nice routes. So nothing very, very high level, but 7A, like that kind of range, and all trad routes, and just learning how to be better in the mountains as a whole. It's fun for me, yeah. And trying to do link up. So I like running, like doing a climb on this side of the valley, come down, run across, go do a climb on this side of the valley, and then go home. And I think that's fun. So I work about 30 hours a week as a lawyer. And then I'm also, luckily, Arc'teryx, so my sponsor, is interested in the projects I like doing, and they like supporting me. So it's a nice benefit to have. But at the end of the day, if I wasn't sponsored, I'd still go and do these things. So I enjoy doing it personally. So, and my wife enjoys doing it as well, and my friends enjoy doing it. So I think you just get very good connections with people when you do that. And I actually enjoy doing more technical climbing because it feels safer than some of the scrambling and alpinism I was doing. So I mean, I've been just a professional athlete in the past, and it's a job. It becomes a job to a certain degree. It's a very different kind of job, but I enjoy the work I do is meaningful for me. I do environmental law, and so I enjoy helping to protect the areas I also like training in. So, and it's nice to work the brain as well as the body as well. So, and it gives me some some security as well long term. So if I get injured, I'm not as stressed as when I was just a full-time athlete. And I think it's more important to bring people out to these areas to show them the areas, and so they have a deeper appreciation for it, and they're more likely to work to conserve it. If the races are happening in areas where there's already trails and they're cleaning up and they require trail maintenance as a part of it, I think that's very important. Races that are 3,000 people in one area, that's difficult in a train, but you have more people out hiking on a day-to-day basis. And I think ultimately, if people are healthier and they're doing things in the mountains, they're more likely to conserve those areas and protect them. But the race should have an environmental ethic to it for sure. It's funny because my wife doesn't like social media at all, and it's a part of my job. And it depends on how you do it. If you're using it to compare yourself or just for your ego, then it's dangerous. If you're doing it to share a message and share a story, it can be very positive. So after my accident, I had many people reach out to me. And so I've had, people who've had accidents themselves saying, your story has helped me with my recovery and things. And so it can help in that regards. So, but you also have to remember that it's only one small part of a story. And people are choosing to tell a story. So it's, if you go in thinking about it that way, then it's not so difficult to manage. But if your whole life is just to go do something to take a photo, then I don't know. I'm not so cool with that. I think that's a bit funny, but yeah. I appreciate anybody who does anything with passion and conviction. And so, I mean, no matter what their area of life is, you know, if they enjoy music and they do it with passion and integrity, I enjoy that. If they enjoy moving in the mountains, and I get a lot of inspiration from that. But yeah, I just, I'm very inspired just by ideas. You know, so anybody who has big ideas, I love people who are thinking a little bit differently and challenging norms. I get inspired by that. So, I mean, simplicity, cost, it's healthy. It's a very easy way to have adventure. You know, I call it adventure light. You don't need a lot of technical experience to go running. Everybody's born running. It's just a natural way of feeling. And I think humans are meant to run. You know, our bodies are designed to move, whether it's running or hiking or running or climbing or so like, you know, walking in the cities. It's just very, very healthy, and it's very meditative for people. And I think it's, you know, and I think trail running is a safe way to introduce people into the mountains. And like you can go and cover lots of terrain and see many beautiful things. And where I live, it's difficult to have competitions because it's all parks, and they limit the size of, they don't like to have competitions there. So for us, it's not so easy to have competitions. And as I say, I think competitions are a good way to get people out running on a day-to-day basis. It's a goal, but it's not, you know, it's a very small part of your actual running. Maybe people do 10 competitions a year at the most, 2 competitions, whereas you're running almost every day, right? So, you know, you're running 200 times a year and you're competing 10 times. Competition's a very small part of that. Beautiful Anna Frost giving me a hug at Hard Rock was very, very special. Finishing Hard Rock that year was very special. In 2015, I ran the first 50 kilometers of Hard Rock with Killian, and that was really special. He's just like, he's a very inspiring, somebody who I look up to a lot, and it was very special for me to get to share that time with him. The first year I ran Ultra Trail Mount Fuji. I finished second at that, and the Japanese people were just so welcoming and just so lovely. And so it was special for me to be part of that culture and to experience a new culture and a new beautiful mountain. For me, it was also a big personal challenge to see if I could run 100 miles. And so that was cool. I really enjoy that time when the runs become difficult and you have to start asking yourself, why am I doing this? I love the answer that I have to come up with, and it changes almost every time. Sometimes it's to see a view, sometimes it's competition, sometimes it's just to see if I can keep going, and sometimes it's just time to go home and have a coffee. Yeah, so yeah, I enjoy that process. I hurt my leg one time, and so I don't think there's any point in injuring yourself just to finish. And like I enjoy running every day too much for that. You know, but if you're just not having a good race, then I always finish. But if I'm injured, then I'll stop. Yeah. Where I live, there's a lot of objectives and things I'd like to try that are, they're not difficult climbs, but they're difficult for me. And so I enjoy doing that. And in the Bugaboos in Canada, which is a very famous climbing area, there's some very nice climbs I like to go do, and you can run into them and then go do some like really cool multi-pitch trad climbs, which I think would be very special. Yeah.